Imagine how you slowly approach the platform, where this long, dark blue sleeping car is standing, illuminated by soft lanterns that barely break through a thin veil of fog. The platform beneath your feet is all concrete, covered with a thin layer of frost, in places sprinkled with salt that crunches under your soles almost silently, as if the snow has already begun to melt and freeze again. Each step leaves a faint imprint as the sole sticks lightly to the cold surface and then pulls away with a quiet, barely perceptible smacking sound smocked. The air temperature is 35 degrees Fahrenheit, and with every exhale a small cloud of steam appears in front of your face, slowly rising up but dissolving into the fog, leaving behind only a light, damp trace on your lips and the tip of your nose. The lanterns along the platform stand every 25 feet, tall cast iron posts about 12 feet high with round frosted globes 2 feet in diameter. The light from them is yellow, warm, but very diffuse. It does not cut into the eyes, but settles onto the platform in soft circles about 10 feet across, and within these circles the snow that has just stopped falling glitters with tiny sparkles, as if someone scattered miniature diamonds. The fog makes the light even softer. It turns each lantern into a large, blurred sphere hanging in the air, slowly pulsing, as if breathing together with you. You approach the metal step of the rail car. There are 3 steps, each 1.5 feet wide, 7 inches high, covered with ribbed iron on which lies a thin crust of ice. When your right foot touches the first step, the metal instantly transfers the cold through the sole of your boot, sharp but not painful, as if someone gently pressed an icy palm against your foot. The left foot follows the right, a metallic rustle, almost soundless, because the ice is thin, only 1/16 of an inch. Now you are standing on the vestibule platform of the car, and here you already feel warmth seeping out from inside through the crack of the slightly open door. A thin stream of air at 38 degrees Fahrenheit touches your face, mixing with the cold vapor of your breath. You take hold of the handrail. The metal is round, 1 inch in diameter, cold like a stone from a river, the temperature about 32 degrees. Your gloved fingers first feel the roughness of the paint. Old black enamel has peeled in places, leaving small flakes that catch in the fabric of the glove. You grip the handrail tighter. The metal does not give, it stands motionless, and the skull begins to slowly rise up through your fingers, through your wrist, your forearm, but it does not disturb you, it simply exists, like part of this moment. You pull yourself upward, shifting your body weight to 180 pounds distributed evenly between your right and left hand, and the handrail gives a slight creak, very quiet, almost tender. Now you are inside the vestibule. The door behind you closes slowly, heavy, weighing about 60 pounds, with a closer that pulls it smoothly, without a slam. The last 10 inches the door travels with a soft shh, and finally a click, the lock engages. The cold air from the platform remains outside, and here inside it immediately becomes warmer at 64 degrees Fahrenheit, and this warmth wraps around you as if someone gently draped a warm scarf over your shoulders. You feel the muscles of your face relax, cheeks that had slightly reddened from the frost begin to warm, your nose stops freezing, your lips are no longer tight. You walk down the corridor. A carpet runner 3/4 of an inch thick, dark green, with a small geometric pattern, muffles every step. The soles of your boots no longer knock, but simply sink into the pile. SHHH. The corridor is narrow, only 3 feet wide. The walls are panelled with dark wood, with vertical panels 8 inches wide, and from them comes a faint aroma of cedar, no varnish. You reach the door of your compartment. The number is engraved on a small brass plate measuring 3 by 2 inches. You turn the handle. The brass is cold, but no longer icy like the handrail on the platform. The door opens with a soft click, SHHHHH, and you step inside. You immediately feel the difference. The temperature is 68 degrees Fahrenheit, the air slightly humid from a running humidifier standing in the corner and quietly humming at the lowest note, almost inaudible. You place your suitcase on the floor. 25 pounds of weight leave your hand, and your shoulder instantly relaxes, as if someone removed an invisible load. The floor beneath your feet is a carpet 1 inch thick, dense, burgundy, with a short pile that springs under the sole and instantly absorbs any sand. First, you take off your coat. The fabric is wool with cashmere, weighing about 4 pounds. You unbutton it 1 button at a time, each button 1/2 inch in diameter, made of horn, cool to the touch. The first a click, the second a click, the third a click, the fourth a click. The coat opens, and the cold from outside that was still lingering in the folds of the fabric rises upward and dissolves into the warm air of the compartment. You slide the coat off your shoulders as the fabric glides along the sleeves of your shirt with a quiet SHRR, and you hang it on a hanger mounted on the wall at a height of 5 feet. The hanger is wooden, covered with fabric, and when the shoulders of the coat settle onto it with a soft rustle, you adjust the collar SHH and let go. The coat now hangs motionless, gently swaying from your movement. Now the boots. You sit on the edge of the seat. The upholstery is velvet, burgundy, soft to the seat depth 2 feet. You lean forward and take hold of the laces of the left boot. The laces are thick cotton, slightly damp from the snow on the platform. You untie the knot shusher, fingers sliding along the fabric. You loosen the lacing SHH, and the boot becomes looser. You pull it by the heel smock, the leather separates from your sock, and the boot slips off your foot. The weight of one boot is about 2.5 pounds. You place it on the carpet, a soft thud. Your right foot now feels a hint of cool air, but within a second the carpet begins to give off warmth as the pile embraces the foot, soft, fluffy, 1 inch thick, and your toes spread, feeling themselves sink into this softness, as if stepping onto warm moss. The same with the right boot, shusher, loosening the laces, mock, the boot falls onto the carpet a thud. Now both feet are free. You wiggle your toes with the big toe, index, middle, ring, little each. One feels the carpet pile differently. The big toe presses deeper into the softness. The little toe touches it more lightly. You slowly slide your foot forward and back along the carpet, SHH, and each time the pile springs back, returning to its original position, as if massaging the sole. You stand up as the carpet yields under your 180 pounds, but very softly, silently. You take a step toward the window, SHH, another SHH. Your legs are now completely relaxed. Your feet feel the warmth of the carpet, which has risen to body temperature, and this warmth travels upward through your ankles, calves, knees, as if someone is slowly pouring warm water inside your body. You stand in the middle of the compartment, feeling how the air around you 68 degrees envelops your skin like a warm bath. Your breathing becomes deeper. Inhale, the chest slowly expands. Exhale, the shoulders drop, the neck relaxes. Outside, beyond the window, the fog is still hanging, the platform lanterns are barely visible, and the snow begins to fall again in small, almost invisible flakes that settle on the glass and slowly melt, leaving thin trails of water. You are here, in warmth, in silence, in safety. Just breathe. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and everything around becomes even quieter. Inside the compartment there are only 40 square feet of space, but every inch of this small world breathes warmth and silence. The air temperature holds steady at exactly 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and this warmth is not sharp, not burning, it is soft, enveloping, as if someone invisible is slowly pouring warm honey through the room, letting it settle on the skin, on the hair, on the clothes, on everything you touch. A table lamp stands on a small table by the window, its height exactly 12 inches, the base made of polished brass 5 inches in diameter, the lampshade made of dense soap the color of aged amber. The light it gives is neither white nor bright, it is golden yellow, warm, with a color temperature of about 2700 Kelvin, and this light pours downward in a cone that widens from the bulb to the surface of the table, where the diameter of the light spot reaches approximately 18 inches. Within this golden cone of light, dust motes float, tiny, almost invisible particles, each less than 1/100th of an inch in size. They do not fall quickly like dust in an ordinary room. They dance, slowly, lazily. Each speck catches a ray of light and for a moment becomes visible, a tiny spark that turns, tumbles, rises on an invisible current of warm air from the lamp, then drops a fraction of an inch, rises again, tracing tiny, barely noticeable loops and spirals. Their movement is so slow that it feels as if time inside the cone of light flows 10 times slower than outside it. You could watch them for hours. One speck rises 3 inches upward, then slowly rotates around its axis, catches the light at a different angle, and disappears from view, only to reappear a few seconds later slightly to the left, slightly lower. Another speck spins in place like a tiny satellite, rotating around an invisible center at a speed of 1 revolution every 5 to 6 seconds. A third rises almost vertically, reaches a height of 8 inches above the table, and pauses for a moment before gently drifting downward, like a leaf falling in windless weather. The scent of cedar comes from the wooden wall panels, each panel 8 inches wide, extending from floor to ceiling, coat it with a thin layer of transparent varnish that does not hide the texture of the wood but only emphasizes it. When you run your finger along one of the panels, the pad of your finger feels light green lines, small knots the size of a pea, and a warm, slightly rough surface that gives back warmth to your skin. The cedar aroma is not sharp, it is soft resinous, with a faint sweetness, as if somewhere far, far away someone opened a small bottle of essential oil and allowed it to slowly evaporate over many hours. The scent rises upward, mixes with the warm air from the lamp, and settles on everything, on your clothes, on your hair, on the pillow, on the blanket, creating the feeling that you are not simply inside a compartment, but inside a cedar forest, where the air is always slightly humid, slightly resinous, slightly sweet. The curtains are heavy velvet, the color of deep burgundy, almost half an inch thick, weighing about 8 pounds each. When you run your palm across their surface, your fingers sink into the dense pile. It is high, about 1/4 of an inch, and each fiber springs back under pressure, returning to its original position with a barely audible shhh. The curtains hang on a solid wooden rod 1 inch in diameter, and the metal rings through which they are threaded are covered with fabric so they do not clink when you move them. Right now the curtains are not fully drawn, a gap 4 inches wide has been left, through which a fragment of the night glass is visible. The cold from the glass, 35 degrees outside, tries to penetrate inside, but the velvet stops it. You feel this physically when you step close to the window and run your hand along the edge of the curtain. The left side of your palm, facing the glass, feels a faint coolness, while the right side, facing the room, remains in the warmth of 68 degrees. The curtain creates a boundary thin but tangible between the cold of the night and the warmth of the compartment. When you slightly pull the edge of the curtain aside, shhh, pile against pile, cold air touches your cheek for a fraction of a second, but immediately retreats, defeated by the warmth of the room. On the table stands a cup of tea, porcelain, thin-walled, 3.5 inches in diameter at the rim, 4 inches high. The Earl Grey tea is still hot, about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Drops of condensation slowly form on the outer surface of the cup, each the size of a pinhead. The first drop appears right near the rim, where the porcelain is slightly thicker. It hangs there for 2 or 3 seconds, then begins to slide downward very slowly, leaving behind a thin transparent trail less than 1/16 of an inch wide. The movement of the drop is almost imperceptible. It descends 1/4 of an inch, pauses, then another 1/4 of an inch, and so on until it reaches a base where it merges with another drop, forming a small puddle 1/2 inch in diameter. When you bring the cup closer to your face, the aroma of bergamot becomes stronger, that first sharp, citrusy, with a slight bitterness, but after a few minutes, when the temperature of the tea drops to 140 degrees, the scent becomes softer, rounder, warmer, as if the bergamot is fully opened and now simply rests in the air enveloping you, mixing with the cedar aroma of the walls, with the warmth of the lamp, with the smell of the wool blanket. The bed occupies almost half of the compartment, 7 feet wide, 6.5 feet long. First, the sheet of white cotton with a density of 300 threads per square inch. When you run your palm across its surface, the fabric is cool, about 60 degrees, slightly slippery smooth, and your fingers feel the fine interweaving of threads that gently spring back under pressure. The sheet cools the skin in the first seconds of contact, a pleasant, invigorating coolness that quickly fades as the warmth of your body begins to transfer into the fabric. You lie down on it slowly, and the sheet at first resists the heat, remaining cool beneath your back, beneath your shoulder blades, beneath your hips, but after a minute or two it yields, warms to your body temperature, and becomes part of you, soft, embracing, like a second skin. Laid over the sheet is a blanket of wool weighing exactly 5 pounds. When you take it in your hands, it is heavy, dense, and the fabric softly rustles, as if thousands of soft fibers are quietly shifting inside it. You lift it above yourself, 5 pounds distributed evenly across your hands, and lower it onto your body. At first the blanket touches the skin with a cool side about 62 degrees, and this contact causes a slight shiver, pleasant, like the first sip of cold water on a hot day. But within 10 seconds the wool begins to give back the heat it has accumulated, slowly, gradually, layer by layer. 5 pounds press against the chest, the stomach, the hips, the legs. This pressure is not heavy but enveloping, as if someone large and kind has placed a hand on you and is simply holding it there, not letting go. Warmth from the blanket rises upward from the feet, where the toes are now completely hidden beneath the wool, through the calves, knees, hips, stomach, chest, shoulders, and finally reaches the neck and cheeks. Beneath the blanket a small microclimate forms, 72 degrees, slightly humid air, the scent of clean wool mixed with cedar and bergamot. You lie motionless. The dust motes continue to dance within the golden cone of the lamp. One rises 5 inches upward, another spins in place, a third slowly descends. The curtains block the cold from the window, their heavy velvet stands motionless, like a wall of warmth. The condensation drop, and the cup slides downward another 1/8 of an inch. The blanket continues to warm 5 pounds of soft, even pressure. Everything inside the compartment breathes slowly, quietly, evenly. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And nothing else is needed. Just to lie, just to breathe, just to be here in this small warm world measuring 40 square feet, where everything is already perfect. The train gently gathers speed, and you feel how the car begins to sway in an even, unhurried rhythm like a cradle rocked by the earth itself, and this rhythm is transmitted through the floor, through the seat, through your body, beginning at the feet where the 1-inch thick carpet springs beneath them, and rising upward through the legs, the thighs, the back, where each light jolt of the car makes the muscles relax even deeper, even more fully. Outside the window, snow-covered night mountains begin to slowly flow past like a river of white silk under the moon, where the snow lies in an even layer 3 feet thick, and this snow absorbs all the sounds of the outer world, leaving only the inner calm of the compartment, where the cedar scent from the walls mixes with the steam from the tea, and you simply lie there, feeling how the warmth of the 5-pound blanket presses you into the bed, and nothing hurries, nothing disturbs, only this endless, smooth movement through the darkness, where each inhale synchronizes with the swaying of the car, and each exhale carries away the last thoughts, leaving only sensations of warmth, safety, and peace. The hypnotic rhythm of the wheels begins to manifest gradually, at first like a distant whisper, then as an even, repeating sound that fills the entire space of the compartment, a click-clack, click-clack. And this sound is not loud, not sharp, it is soft, as if the wheels are not knocking on the rails, but simply touching them, sliding along smooth metal, where each click is a slight lifting of the car at the rail joint, and each clack is the lowering, and this repeats every 2 seconds, creating a rhythm that resembles the beating of a heart in a state of deep rest, when the pulse slows to 60 beats per minute. You feel how this click-clack is transmitted through the floor, through the carpet, through the mattress, and reaches your body, beginning at the soles, where the toes gently sway in time, and rising upward through the calves, where the muscles vibrate barely perceptibly, through the knees to the thighs, where the swaying becomes part of your breathing, and further through the abdomen, the chest, where each click coincides with an inhale, and each clack with an exhale. This makes the breathing even more even deeper, even calmer, as if the train is not simply moving, but breathing together with you. This click-clack sound can be listened to from different perspectives. If you listen closer to the floor, it seems lower, more muffled, like a bass note in a distant melody, and if you lean back into the pillow, it becomes higher, cleaner, like a light whisper of wind and leaves. From either side, this rhythm soothes, lulls, repeating endlessly, click-clack, click-clack, and you can simply close your eyes and allow this sound to carry you, the way a river carries a leaf along its current, without effort, without direction, only in warmth and calm. The landscape outside the window unfolds slowly, like a painting being drawn by an invisible brush, where snow-covered pines stand along the tracks in even rows. The height reaches 50 feet, their trunks straight 2 feet in diameter at the base, covered with bark that in the moonlight appears silvery. Their branches, spreading each up to 10 feet long, bend under the weight of snow, a layer 3 to 4 inches thick on each, and this snow lies evenly, fluffy, not sliding off. Only occasionally, when the wind lightly touches the tree, a single snowflake breaks free and falls downward, spinning in the air from a height of 30 feet, then 20, then 10, and finally settles on the ground, where the snowdrifts reach a depth of 3 feet. These drifts are not flat, but slightly wavy, like frozen waves, where the snow sparkles under the moon, reflecting light with tiny crystals 1/8 of an inch in size. The entire landscape flows past the window at the speed of 30 miles per hour, but it seems slower because the mountains in the background rise motionless, their peaks at an elevation of 8,000 feet, cover the snow 5 feet thick. This snow is not white, but slightly bluish in the moonlight, creating a feeling of endless silence, where each inhale you take synchronizes with passing the next pine, and each exhale with how it disappears beyond the window, making room for the next. This repetition makes the landscape hypnotic, as if you are not traveling, but simply observing the sleep of nature, where the snow continues to fall, settling on pine branches softly, without sound, and the drifts grow by an inch per hour. Though you do not see this growth, only feel the eternity of this process, which lulls, carries you into the depths of calm, where the swaying of the car merges with the view beyond the window, and you simply float through this whiteness, through this silence, through this infinity. Passing by small stations in Montana happens so quietly, so imperceptibly, that it feels as though they simply appear and disappear in the snowy haze, like memories in a half-dream. The first station appears a quarter of a mile ahead, its solitary light yellow lanterns 6 feet high, standing every 30 feet along a short platform 100 feet long. These lights are not bright, not blinking. They burn steadily, casting round pools 10 feet in diameter onto the snow that lies around the station in a 2-foot layer. There is no one on the platform, only silence, broken by the distant, muffled hum of wind in the wires, but this hum is so faint that it only deepens the calm. As the train approaches, the station lights draw nearer, their glow reflecting in the window of your compartment, creating a faint sheen on the quarter-inch thick glass. You feel how the car sways slightly more on the curve before the station, but this swaying is soft, like a sigh. The station slips past slowly, its wooden building 30 feet long and 15 feet wide, standing motionless, with the roof covered in snow 1 foot thick, and smoke from the chimney rising in a thin area crappy car 20 feet high, dissolving into the night. Beyond the station, forest again, pines again, silence again, where the lights recede gradually, dimming at a distance of half a mile, and this silence wraps around you like a 5-pound blanket, pressing you into the bed, where each inhale is an acceptance of this silence, and each exhale is its continuation. The next station appears just as quietly, its lights flickering in the snow like distant stars, and the train does not stop. It simply glides past, leaving the station behind in the past, in stillness, in the endless night of Montana, where everything is covered in snow, everything is calm, everything simply flows in the rhythm of click-clack, and you feel how this flow carries you deeper into relaxation, deeper into sleep. The moment of passing through a tunnel begins imperceptibly when ahead, at a distance of a quarter of a mile, a dark mouth opens in the mountain, 30 feet wide and 13 feet high. The train enters it smoothly, without a jolt, and the sound changes gradually. A click-clack becomes more muffled, echoing off the walls of the tunnel, where the rails lie in complete darkness. This sound is now no longer open, but enclosed, as if it is sounding inside a large cave. A click-clack, click-clack, with a light reverberation that lingers for half a second after each strike. The car sways a little more, but this swaying is so cozy, so protected, because the tunnel embraces the train on all sides. Absolute darkness outside becomes complete. The moon and the snow disappear, leaving only the interior light of the lamp in the compartment, its golden cone 12 inches high. In this darkness, the coziness becomes deeper, warmer, as if the entire world has narrowed down to your compartment of 40 square feet of warmth and calm. The swaying of the cars felt more strongly, transmitted through the floor, through the mattress, through the body, beginning at the feet and rising upward. The click-clack sound is now the only one. It hypnotizes, repeating in the darkness where there is nothing but this rhythm. You feel your eyes closing, your thoughts melting in this cozy darkness. The tunnel stretches for half a mile, where each second is a step deeper into relaxation. And when the exit approaches, the light ahead appears as a thin strip 1 inch wide, then 2 inches, then a foot, and the train emerges into the moonlight, where snow again settles on the pines, and the click-clack rhythm returns to its open form, but now it feels even cozier, even closer, carrying you farther through mountains, through forests, through the night, where everything is calm, everything is warm, everything is endless. This journey continues, and the rhythm of the wheels of click-clack becomes part of your body, as if the wheels are your feet stepping along the rails, where each click is a lift and each clack is a lowering. This repetition makes everything around hypnotic. The 50-foot pines outside the window stand motionless, their branches covered with 3 inches of snow do not stir, only the snow falls on them softly. Snowdrifts 3 feet deep lie in even waves, sparkling in the moonlight. Stations in Montana pass by, their lights warm, solitary, not disturbing. Tunnels come and go, changing the sound to more muffled, more cozy. and you simply lie there, feeling the swaying of the car, the warmth of the blanket, the scent of cedar, and the journey continues in endless, calm line. Once again, the click-clack rhythm fills the compartment. From one side it sounds low, bass-like, when you listen closer to the floor. From the other side it sounds higher, more melodic, when you lean back into the pillow. This variation makes it even more hypnotic, as the landscape outside flows slowly, 50-foot pines with branches covered in snow, snowdrifts 3 feet deep, stations with solitary lights, tunnels with cozy darkness, and the swaying of the car carries you onward, into calm, into sleep. The train begins to slow so smoothly that at first you hardly notice it. The rhythm of click-clack becomes less frequent, the pauses between the sounds grow longer, and the swaying of the car turns into a light, almost imperceptible rocking, as if someone very carefully stopped the cradle so as not to wake a sleeping child. The speed drops from 30 miles per hour to 20, then to 10, then to 5, and finally the wheels stop knocking altogether. Only a quiet, low hum of the brakes remains, lasting for several seconds and then fading away, dissolving into the morning silence. The train comes to a stop with a soft, barely audible shhh, like a sigh of relief after a long journey. Outside the window appears the final station, small, almost rural, no more than 200 feet long. The wooden platform is covered with fresh snow 4 inches thick, which no one has yet had time to trample down. There are only 2 lanterns on the platform, a cast iron 10 feet high, with round globes 2 feet in diameter. Their light is no longer needed, the sun has just risen above the horizon, and its light is bright, almost white, cutting into the eyes after the long night spent in the soft amber glow of a lamp. The sun's rays fall at an angle, reflecting off the snow so strongly that it seems as though the entire platform is strewn with tiny mirrors. You slowly stand up. A 5-pound blanket slides off your shoulders as shirt and falls onto the bed in a soft wave. The sheet beneath you still retains the warmth of your body, but the air in the compartment has already begun to cool, and now it is about 62 degrees Fahrenheit. You put on your boots, each weighing 2.5 pounds. The laces tighten slowly, sheer, and when you stand, the 1-inch thick carpet springs under your soles, giving the last of its warmth to your feet. You open the compartment door, click shhh. The corridor of the car is now cold at 58 degrees. You walk toward the exit, the carpet runner muffles your steps, but each step is still felt shhh. The vestibule meets you with frost, the temperature drops to 28 degrees Fahrenheit. The door to the platform is heavy, weighing about 60 pounds. You push it with your shoulder, the metal is cold even through your jacket. The door opens with a quiet creak, and the frosty air immediately strikes your face, slips under your collar, touches your cheeks, nose, lips. Your breath turns into thick white vapor that rises upward and dissolves in the bright morning light. You descend the steps, with 3 of them, each 7 inches high. The first step of the metal is icy, the cold cuts through the sole. The second the same. The third, and now you are standing on the platform. The snow beneath your feet crunches, crunch. Each step presses the snow down by half an inch, and the sound is dry, clean, almost musical, as if someone is slowly turning the pages of a very old book. The snow is fresh, fluffy on top, but dense underneath, and the crunch repeats with every step, the crunch, pause, and this rhythm now replaces the click-clack of the wheels, becoming a new background for your breathing. The sun shines brightly, almost blinding. The air temperature is 25 degrees Fahrenheit, but in the sun it feels slightly warmer. The light reflects off the snow so strongly that your eyes squint, and the entire world around becomes white, dazzlingly white, with a faint bluish tint in the shadows. The platform is empty, no people, no porters, no voices. Only the wind, very weak, about 3 miles per hour, which lightly stirs the snow at the edge of the platform and carries small crystals upward, where they sparkle in the sunlight like tiny pollen. You take several steps along the car, crunch. The snow sounds different beneath your feet. Closer to the edge of the platform it is softer, the crunch quieter, almost rustling, and in the center, where someone has already walked earlier, it is denser, and the sound is louder, sharper, but still calm. No hurry, no noise. Beyond the platform, the road home begins a narrow packed path 4 feet wide, winding between pines 50 feet tall. Snowdrifts on both sides reach 3 feet in height, and on their crests the snow sparkles so brightly that it seems as though someone scattered diamond dust across them. The sun rises higher, and the shadows from the pines grow longer, falling across the snow in blue bands 10 to 12 feet wide. You walk slowly, each step a cruncher. Your breath comes out as thick vapor rising 2 to 3 feet upward and melting into the air. Frost pinches your cheeks and the tip of your nose, but it is a pleasant cold, invigorating, clean, not harsh. Your jacket creaks lightly with every movement, sure show, fabric rubbing against fabric. You pass the last lantern on the platform. It is already turned off, its globe covered with a thin layer of frost. Beyond it, the forest begins. The pines stand silent, their branches heavy with snow, and sometimes when the sun touches a branch at the right angle, the snow breaks free in a small avalanche and falls downward soundlessly, dissolving into the drift. You walk farther. Cruncher, cruncher. The road slopes upward slightly in no more than a 3-degree incline, but your legs feel it. Your breathing becomes a little deeper, but remains even. The vapor from your breath now rises higher, about 4 feet, and lingers in the air longer before dispersing. Ahead, a house comes into view, wooden, single story, its roof covered with snow 1.5 feet thick. The chimney releases a thin stream of smoke rising 20 feet upward, the smoke white, almost transparent against the blue sky. The windows glow with warm yellow light. Someone has already woken up, turned on a lamp, put the kettle on. You come closer. The snow beneath your feet crunches more quietly. The path here is already packed, is snow denser. Cruncher, cruncher. The last 10 steps. The last 5. The last 2. You stop at the threshold. The door is wooden, painted dark green. The handle is brass cold. You take hold of it, the metal burns your palm with cold, but it is a familiar cold, a homey one. You open the door, click SHHH. A wave of warmth immediately flows out from inside to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, the smell of freshly brewed coffee, wood, home. You step over the threshold. The door closes behind you, click. You are home. You take off your jacket shirt. You hang it on a hook. You remove your boots with thud thud. You place them by the door. The floor beneath your feet is warm, wooden, slightly springy. You take a step forward. Another. Silence. Warmth. Home. Everything. The end of the journey. The end of the night. The beginning of sleep.